Hi there, this is Taylor Clouse and I am your nutrition expert. Today I wanted to talk to you about protein, that favorite macronutrient that always comes up in discussions when talking about weight loss, muscle mass, getting stronger. It's a really important macronutrient. But the question arises, are all proteins the same? Well, the simple answer is no. They're vastly different. What we want to back up and think about is that protein is actually made up of amino acids. And different proteins are made up of different amino acids. And their amino acid ratios, profiles, are, while vastly different, exert different effects. We want to keep in mind that there are essential amino acids. Those are the amino acids our bodies require on a daily basis in order to survive. We can't live without them. So a lot of your meat proteins, your dairy proteins are considered complete proteins in that they have all your essential amino acids. There are some vegetable proteins that do as well, but for the most part, most vegetable proteins are lacking a couple amino acids here and there. Now by combining those, you can technically get the amino acids that you need to survive. But the next thing we want to look at is the absorption rate, the utilization rate of different proteins. And one of the best scales for that is biological value, or BV. And what this attempts to do is it's a nitrogen retention test, meaning it tests for how much protein goes in the system, how much is excreted, and determines how much is left being utilized. So when you look at a BV scale, you will notice that whey protein is the highest scoring protein out there, followed by whole egg, your meat proteins, and then typically your vegetable proteins are right there with the meat maybe a little lower. Now you have to be careful when you're looking at these on the internet because the original BV scales are skewed. Originally they did not test whey protein, they just tested vegetables, meat, and egg. What happened then is they did a sliding scale with 100 being egg and then all other proteins falling below that. When whey was then tested, it tested higher than egg. And so the scale became skewed and you would see BV scores on whey of 110, 120. I think I've even seen scores of 159. But really, that's way, way skewed. What you want to look for is a BV scale that's based on 100 being 100%. That gives you a much more accurate picture in terms of the absorption and utilization rates. On that type of scale, you're going to see whey protein come in anywhere from about 95, 98%. Whole egg protein is probably about 95, 93%, followed by your meat proteins in the mid-80s and vegetable proteins. So there is a difference in whey and egg, but not as great as a lot of them tend to put out there. Now when it comes to those amino acids, why whey protein comes into play is so popular is that it has a very high concentration of what are called branch chain amino acids, or BCAAs. These are really popular with athletes, with bodybuilders, because they're metabolized differently. They help promote muscle growth. And the highest percentage of BCAAs occur in whey protein. And that's why it's such a great protein overall, and especially for muscle growth. When scientists were looking into individual amino acids to determine which ones promote muscle growth more than others, they found that leucine was the biggest promoter of muscle growth. And it happens to be that the highest concentration of leucine in protein occurs in whey. So again, another benefit for whey protein. When it comes to overall health, whey protein also have enormous amounts of cysteine. And cysteine helps boost our natural production of glutathione. Glutathione is an antioxidant, it's a detoxifier that our body's making internally, but supplying it with enough raw material like cysteine will boost its production. So a lot of health benefits. The other thing we can look at is the digestion rate of protein. proteins digest at different rates. Why is this important? It depends on the use you want to have for them. On the high-end scale, fast digesting proteins are your whey protein. It's one of the fastest digesting. On your slow end, ones that digest very slowly, is going to be your milk or casein protein, where whey protein might digest on an empty stomach in maybe 2 or 4 hours, get in the system very quickly. Casein might take more like 8 to 10 hours to fully digest. So in some instances, the combination of the two actually work really well, having a fast-acting whey protein with a slow-acting casein or milk protein. And a lot of times casein gets a bad rap, but keep in mind, most people are well aware that for babies, the best food on earth for a newborn infant is mother's milk. Mother's milk from humans consists of 60% whey protein and 40% casein protein. So that gives you an idea of what I guess you could call perfect protein or perfect food for humans. Now when you look at milk protein from cows, you have a completely different ratio. You have 20% whey to 80% casein. And so that's why milk protein as a whole is not a great protein. Casein, while slower digesting, doesn't have a very high biological value, but it does have a very unique amino acid profile in which it does have higher amounts of glutamine, which is great for slowing down catabolism, slowing down muscle loss, and then whey protein helps build up muscle. So whey and casein can work hand in hand together. Just in terms of vegetable proteins, a lot of people like the idea of vegetable proteins, want to incorporate them. There's nothing wrong with that, but my advice or my suggestion would be if you're a vegetarian, if you're a vegan, if you're allergic to dairy, utilize those vegetable protein sources, especially your protein shakes and supplements, mainly what I'm talking about here. Now, if you're not allergic to whey, if you're not a vegan, not a vegetarian, you're going to do much better on a whey protein supplement or a whey protein meal replacement than you would with a vegetable protein. So that's a couple of things to think about when it comes to proteins, biological value, digestion rate, and amino acid profile. So hopefully that was helpful to you so you can get the most out of your weight loss program, the most out of your health, and the most muscle out of your workouts. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always here to help. But again, thank you for watching, and this is Taylor Clouse, your nutrition expert.